A very good evening and welcome this edition of the Fourth Estate. Charles Mwangushampagi. And tonight, it's a very extraordinary day in a way. One is a lot of passengers traveling out of Entebbe International Airport with unfortunately only one access road. Missed their flights today because the road was closed, partly because I think yesterday and today a bit, because of the visit of the South Korean leader Park Geun-hye. But her first diplomatic visit and the first visit of a South Korean president to Uganda in 50 years. She manages to score a diplomatic coup, getting Uganda one of the 5 strategic partners of South Korea, ranked among the most strategic allies for the longest time, of North Korea rather. Uganda has decided to cut diplomatic ties with the North Korean state, which is known as DPRK, the Democratic Republic of Korea. They have decided to cut ties because that is success to Park Geun-hye's visit to Kampala, which is started yesterday and she'll be here until tomorrow and travel to Kenya. She started her visit from Ethiopia, her 3-nation visit of Africa, the first Korean president from South Korea to visit. And Uganda has been having very deep and close ties with North Korea. So the move to change and cut diplomatic ties is a very significant development in global politics. As soon as Park Geun-hye leaves Entebbe, the leader of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, will be arriving in Kampala for a visit. And people will be looking closely to ask what is it that the Kampala regime is doing to attract all this international attention, because Turkey and South Korea are very strategically positioned in international politics as game changers. Tonight, we'll not be discussing international politics. We'll continue to discuss domestic politics. The Opposition Forum for Democratic Change has finally decided to appoint leadership in parliament. A lot of haggling within the party, a lot of disagreement, and we're asking the question, politics of compromise, are they possible in Uganda? To discuss that with us tonight, let me start by introducing my colleague, Onapito Ekomolech. Onapito, always a pleasure to have you here.
Good evening, Charles, and good evening, viewers.
Some bit of inconvenience getting to the studio tonight because the Serena complex is hosting some important people.
I wished for my old hat.
You wished you still carried that
as the insider,
that idea of State House.
The insider on the inside, the insider on the outside.
That's what happens when things change. But very nice to have you. It's good you finally managed to make it into studio. We actually should have started the show a little bit earlier. Let me also introduce Fred Bamwine. Fred Bamwine is, I should introduce him as an NRM activist. I don't know what to say, but Fred Bamwine contested in the primaries of the NRM, wanted to get into parliament. He's been an RDC. He was RDC Nakawa, he was RDC Ruwaga, now he's RDC Butambala. You contested somewhere in Ntungamo?
No, in Imbarara.
In Imbarara?
Kashari South Constituency.
Kashari South Constituency. Very nice to have you, Fred.
Thank you, Charles, and good evening, viewers and listeners, and I'm happy to be here for the show.
Thank you, and I'll introduce my last guest here. Is Ibrahim Kasozi. Ibrahim Kasozi is a member of parliament representing Machindia East constituency on the Forum for Democratic Change ticket.
Yes, please.
Very nice to have you.
Thank you. Good evening, our viewers. And I also want to thank Charles for inviting me. This is the second time I'm here. So thank you.
And it is Bamwine's first time to be in this studio.
Yeah, that's what you chose. But at least I've been an active member.
For Bamwine's case, it just proves that you cannot put a good man down. He might have lost the election, but he's a national figure who will always be in the spotlight.
So I would wish to be here as many times as possible.
Well, there are so many people who would wish to be here, and we haven't had the opportunity to have them. We can only do one show in a week and only 1 hour. Let me start with you, Ibrahim Kasozi.
Yes, please.
You are now a member of your party's National Executive Committee.
Yes, please.
And you have had a lot of pulling of the rope over whether you should appoint a leader of opposition, a chief whip in the 10th parliament. Finally, party president, Mugisha Muntu, decided to appoint Ibrahim Semujunganda and Winnie Kiza to those positions. What is the fight
And
in the
Cecilia.
party? And Cecilia Gwal, yes. What is the fight in the party about? Why was that difficult? Why was that a difficult decision for you to make as a party?
I think there's one thing which I think it was a mistake, maybe, to go into multi-party politics when we are not ready. The situation in FDC is the situation of individuality. Where people think if not Mwangusha doing this, nobody could do it. They don't follow what does the party say. Because if you recall, we have participated, since we formed the FDC, we have participated in 2 elections, which we have lost. And the result of our losing was out of cheating. But we have gone ahead to elect the leader of opposition, like Nandala, Honorable Nandala, Honorable Latigo, and of recent, WAF.
Wafula Goto.
Wafula Ogutu. We are asking ourselves, when they told us we should not vote, we should not elect the leaders in parliament, we asked for justification for that. Those who pushed for that, they told us that if we elect the leadership, then it will be a straight acceptance that we have legitimized the government in power today. But we asked them, if you have agreed that Kasos should go on and sworn in, that means you have accepted that there is a leadership which I'm going to serve under. So what is the instance of not electing the leadership in parliament? All the functions we are going to do in parliament, as you know, most of them, the committees, the oversight committees, they are designated by the leader of opposition and chief whip. So now, if you are telling me you have accepted me to go in parliament, you don't want me to take the leadership, and if you see the constitution, it's not that it's a must that FDC, they should be the leader of opposition. The decision we have made, it was in the interest of the party. Because when you look at the constitution Article 82A.
I hear you. You're talking about a party that internally has significant fissures. And people have been watching. Dr. Kizza Besigye has been now a resident of the Luzira Maximum Security Prison, upper prison, for the last about, today is 29th. He's been there almost 2 weeks now.
Yes.
Yes, almost 2 weeks. And the party seems to be, I mean, the country and the opposition and activism seem to be in a kind of flux. And people are watching this huge battle within the biggest, the biggest opposition party. And they're saying, what exactly is going on internally? What exactly is going on? What is this?
You see, some of our colleagues who wanted us not to put up election, to elect leaders in parliament, for them, they are pushing that if we elect leaders, when Besigye is still in the prison, then it will be that we have betrayed the doctor. But it's not that's not the case, because we have seen Mandela. There is a time when they arrested all the leaders of ANC, Mandela, Susulu, even Thabo Mbeki was in prison. But
Thabo Mbeki was somewhere outside of the country. He wasn't in South Africa.
But ANC,
His father.
as a party,
father, yes.
they kept on going on, and they struggled to make sure those leaders, they come out of the prison. Doesn't mean that if they put up the leadership in parliament, we are going to sit in parliament.
So you haven't abandoned Besigye?
We haven't. Instead, this is a struggle where I feel that we have one mission, but in a different tactics and different ways of achieving that.
Okay, let me turn to Honor for some historical perspective. Honor, the battle within FDC on whether they should appoint, because that's where compromise begins, internally for the party to agree and say, we can appoint leaders in parliament. They have a very small number in parliament, 56 MPs? 37 MPs, and that is a significant drop from what they had in the previous parliament and the parliament before that. But if you look at the history of attempts at boycott in this country, the Uganda People's Congress was the first to make a major attempt. When Obote was in exile in Zambia, and he said he issued an edict that the party shouldn't participate in elective politics. Interestingly, leaders like Cecilia Ogwalo were the ones that decided that they would go ahead and participate in those elections. And UPC significantly suffered. The FDC has been... Do you think the dice now plays in favor of Muntu for making the decision to appoint or not?
Well, Charles, first of all, in the general picture, it of course proves my constant argument that our politics, unfortunately, or justifiably in many respects, is not entirely about ideals. It's also about personal enhancement, and people are entitled to enhance themselves, and politics is one of the ways you can enhance yourself. So sometimes the ideals contradict with that desire of the individual. But let's come to FDC. For me, the latest fiasco is really the tail, sort of, maybe not the tail end, but is of a build-up of contradictions within FDC, which started right from Dr. Kizza Besigye himself, before the elections, when they were having the contest with the Muntu for the leadership, or who would become the flag bearer of FDC. He was very categorical that he did not believe in going for this election under the same conditions with the same electoral commission, without changes to the law. But the rest is history. He went for the election, knowing very well, at least in his words, that the outcome wouldn't be would be taken, or his victory would be stolen. And he said, and fortunately this time it will not come to pass. We shall challenge it. The people are going to rise. There is P10. And I told him last time when we were with him here that unfortunately, Doctor, the P10 and others have left you alone. So now when people who are saying because he's in jail, they should not participate, they are just echoing the contradiction of having gone for the election when they should perhaps not have gone for the election. So it's real at the end of the day, people are taking care of themselves. Those who are seeing the leader of opposition is a very attractive position, certainly in this country. It's sort of a shadow prime minister or shadow leader of government business in the house, and there are perks to it. I mean, you are seen as really somebody of substance in society, and the groceries are not small. But of course,
would it be strategic for a party like FDC to let that opportunity pass?
Yeah, I'm saying if they really believe that this system is a dictatorship, that this system stole their victory, perhaps the right point should have been not to have gone for the election and pursued the reforms that they claimed they were going to achieve. But there was a contradiction. So now even if they seize this opportunity, it's based on contradiction, it's based on some bit of opportunism. But of course, they could have taken this absurdity to another level, if one may call it an absurdity. They could still have said, yes, let's elect a leader of opposition, but not call him leader of opposition. That is actually leader of government business in the house, because we are the government.
Besigye is in prison primarily because he got
argued
sworn in. He argued that he was the rightfully elected leader and decided to swear himself
so nobody want to follow him in prison, which means people want to save their skin. So for me, I'm not surprised that the FDC has been contradicting itself. But
Fred,
again, the conditions perhaps have made sure that they can't help it. They are also under a lot of pressure
Fred
from the state. Yeah.
You work with and for the party in power. You're a supporter, but you're also employed by the party in power.
I'm employed by government.
You're employed by government, but you're a supporter of the party in power, of the NRM. When you see these kinds of... the opposition argues that they are being forced into these kind of hard situations because of the way you are running politics in this country.
They may be right, because the challenge we have as a country that most people who are interested in politics, they are lazy. They don't want to read, and they don't want to copy. You mentioned the...
Hardworking people don't copy.
You mentioned the UPC time of 96, but I can take you further. That the first elections in Uganda, UPC boycotted elections. And when they turned around, all the seats were taken by DP. That's when they quickly emerged to realize that there was a danger, and they made an alliance with KY. Otherwise, they were finished. That was first indicator of how dangerous boycott was. You remember Zertwaura boycotted the parliament. I don't know where he is now. So, issues of boycott in this country.
Resigned because he didn't agree to the extension of the National Resistance Army.
He boycotted the procedure, and he has disappeared. So, what I want to say, there has been no success in political boycott in this country, particularly for the leaderships. Two, I am one of those who did not support the return to multipartyism in this country. I was saying we need to remain under the movement system of governance, whereby you can elect a leader according to his merits, as he has mentioned it. But majority of them didn't believe me, and they said it's a good multi-party. Because my argument has been and is, it is not true that multipartyism is equal to development and peace of a country. If it was so, there are countries in Africa which attained multi-party politics in 1960, after independence. They have not had any wars, but when you look at them now, in terms of economic development and in terms of political development, they are not far from us. So you cannot have multipartyism thrive and flourish in a country whereby majority of the people are poor. We are all, me and Kasoso, we are separated by, he's a Uganda, he's a Muslim, and I'm not. That's our but we're all poor. So you cannot base on those ones to be fundamental issues of political development in a country.
But if you...
And when you look at those and you ask yourself about what is happening, coming into parliament now, FDC, as Honor has mentioned, they first promised tsunami. It didn't happen. Political tsunami, we shall not, that government will not...
Okay, let me cut you there. Is it healthy for our democratization project?
This one,
what you've just described,
yes,
everything you've just described, is that healthy for our democratic...
It's not.
growth?
I'm trying to say we are making a mistake as a political class to copy everything that we have been told by the West or by the big boys. Do this and we follow. I think it's high time.
Does that include cutting relations with North Korea?
Let's take a break. I think that's a good one. Let's take a break. You're still watching The Fourth Estate, and we're discussing politics of compromise in this country. Is it possible? Is it viable in this country? And we're focusing largely on the controversies around the Opposition Forum for Democratic Change and its election of leaders like the leader of opposition, a chief whip in the 10th parliament, where they're significantly outnumbered by the ruling National Resistance Movement. But they've also been debating their leader, one of their leaders rather, Dr. Kizza Besigye, remains incarcerated in Luzira prison. He's due to appear in court, I think, on 1st June, which will be on Wednesday. And so it's been a tough decision for party president Mugisha Muntu to elect a leader. I need to remind your viewers that yesterday, High Court ruled that David Sejusa, formerly known as Tinyafuza, was constructively discharged from the military. So in effect, they have given him back his freedom as a civilian, though the army had threatened to appeal the ruling and says it's a bad ruling. He's been battling. Pardon?
Why do you call it a threat?
It is a threat until they execute it. No.
It's a court procedure.
When you make a statement and say, I'm going to do this, you have only threatened to do it until you do it.
You may state it.
No, you have just stated it. You've just made a statement.
Well, it will be a case of history repeating itself.
It has never happened by the way.
The first attempt by the general to leave the army was...
won a high court case, and it's Supreme Court overturned it. So it's not new.
Well, we'll wait and see. They have threatened to overturn it. They say it's a bad ruling. We'll wait and see. Until they do.
So I think it's not a threat.
It's still a threat.
It's a statement. But I wanted to conclude.
Yes. You wanted to conclude?
I wanted to say that the political class in this country has betrayed Ugandans. We have masters, we have PhDs. Kabarega and Mwanga had not even gone to nursery. And they said we shall oppose the whites. And they did. What's wrong with us, the political class of these days? Sit on the table and say, what is good for Uganda? It's not necessarily multi-party.
You should be leading. Is it?
I'm tickling you.
No.
I'm tickling you because I'm one of those who are uncomfortable. Somebody has said, I'm promising a tsunami. I'm not going to contest under this political arrangement where there's electoral commission and the reforms are not
Like
made.
the one who said
And he
I want
continues
only 4
ahead.
years.
Then people have
Then-
gone ahead, participated, elected as members of parliament. Now they're in parliament and they're saying, don't swear. I mean, they go and swear. Then you say, don't elect. I mean, what kind of contradictions?
Then the other one who said,
So to
just
me-
for 4 years
To me, I think what is important for us as a country
for death.
is to have people, if you choose to be in a political class, you commit that political suicide, however bitter it is, and you take that firm decision. So otherwise, but anyway.
Dead men don't make firm decisions.
Yeah, but they
If
make,
you commit suicide,
if you commit
suicide, if you commit suicide,
they
you're
make
dead.
history for others to learn on.
No, if you commit suicide, you're dead.
They make history for people to learn from.
Yes, but if you
On
in the
fact, people are going to Namugongo.
if you
to
in
what?
the NRM,
In fact, my surprise is that the Baganda go there to Namugongo.
eh,
A normal Muganda shouldn't go going to Namugongo. Because those were rebels.
Kasozi was quipping here and saying that there are people who promised that they would be leaving after 4 years. They were not career politicians. They were
Yes.
soldiers. They would go
That's
back to
true.
the barracks.
That's true.
And then they changed and said, we are...
They subjected themselves to a vote. And
No,
the vote said you have
and
to be
then
here.
they wrote and said, give me this my last term. And then they
Because-
came back and
yes,
then
you see-
they made a constitution.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
it's
your
the same,
views.
it's the same political class which says, makes a constitution and says, now, no, we need to change this constitution and stuff like that.
No, you see.
my question to you
for
is-
you bring a question
those,
as a leader.
those are ways people manage their own political careers.
Yes,
I have no qualms with that.
yes.
My question is that healthy for the country?
No, to me, I think I've told you what is heresy. Is for us to sit as a political class and identify those common issues that are important for us Ugandans all, regardless of our political affiliations, our tribes, our religious affiliations, and we say this can take Uganda away.
Yes.
Because to me, there are countries which have been like us. The North Korean lady is here.
South Korean.
South Korean president is here. There are countries which have been like us in terms of political development, in terms of economic development, but they finally chose and said, we must go this way. But for us, we want to still dance the other dance. I think it's high time we started saying no.
And who's the chapter chorister? Who's the lead dancer?
I'm one of those to lead it.
You're one of the,
Yes.
of which, the one coming or the one that you've been dancing?
At coming, I haven't been there.
Kasos, let me come back to you. As a major party in opposition, if you keep running with these kinds of contradictions, you make promises, you can't live up to those promises.
You wait
Like
next
which
year.
one? Like which one?
You know, the ones he was outlining just a while ago. How do you expect people watching us to say, here we have a bunch of serious leaders determined to take this country with a clear plan on where they want to take it?
I think what he has forgotten is to differentiate between individual statements and a party policy.
Individuals run the party, don't they?
No, but there's a party policy. If Kasoza I go and I sit wherever I am and I make a statement, you will not attribute that statement to the party.
But you're a party leader, aren't you?
Huh?
You're a party
Yes,
leader.
I am.
You're a leader.
But-
You're the chairman of your constituency.
Yes, when I'm in a constituency, when I'm going to issue any statement, which are going to be a collective responsibility, I sit with my executive and make a statement. But when I go in my own things and I issue a statement, they will attribute that statement to me, not
if-
the
but
party
if it is
as a
said
policy.
by your
Because
leader.
what you were saying, doctor said that as a person, because of what he went through. But when it came back to the party said otherwise. They said, no, for us, we are going into elections. And when we went to the delegates conference, the leaders elected him as our flag bearer. So he had to obey his mind or the party. You know, the party supersedes my personal interest. He followed the party policy. Yes, so I don't see any
But
contradiction
how
on that.
internally? Because if you can't compromise internally as a party, you keep breaking. And those fissures reveal themselves in the numbers you're able to put into parliament, you're able to put into other elective positions, regardless of the disadvantages of the hurdles that you work against.
To me, I think those bickering are healthy because it would be bad if you fail to sit and you resolve those problems. Then it becomes bad. But in a situation where they come up and you can easily sit and you discuss those issues, not like my friend Bamwine, they don't have a time to discuss any issue comes up. That's why you see whoever disagrees with them, he leaves.
How many have left them?
Mugisha
Compared to us?
He was there.
Never.
They have
They
left.
have never been. They have never been there.
They have never been where?
And Mugisha Muntu has never been in Narema as a party. Besigye has never been in Narema as a party.
Dan Sali.
Has never been in Narema. No, in fact, Dan Sali was. Dan Sali was. But what I'm trying to show you,
Mugisha
at least
Muntu was
the
part of that meeting in Chankwanzi
but
that
he
discussed the third term prior to
Yes.
remove of term limits.
Yes, he
in
didn't leave.
1995.
Excuse me.
to
He
me-
didn't leave to reach NRM as a party. He left before. But what I'm trying to say, even if I can't say that that in NRM we have only angels, but at least the level of minimum consensus, the level of give and take, and the clear leadership we have as a party. Otherwise, we wouldn't have managed to, like in the last elections, we had a very huge problem of mismanagement in the primaries, in party primaries. But the leadership of the party managed to bring people together, managed to hold it together, said, okay, let us go through elections, we shall clean whatever has gone wrong. But if you can see what has been FDC, at every stage they lose very key people, and they don't care. Said you can go.
Who have they lost?
Even this one,
Who have they lost?
Bet Kamia, I can tell you, the last elections between Nandar and who? And Montu, another group went away.
Which group?
Which group?
I'm not, where are the
Say
Bet
it.
Kamia, where are the
No.
where are
Which
the
group?
animal
Please,
teachers
which
of this
group?
world?
Please, don't.
Where are the animal teachers of this world?
You have
No.
you.
Are they still members
Don't look
of
at
this?
Kasozi.
Yes.
The people watching you are there.
Yes.
So tell
Yes.
them the truth.
Yes,
Yes.
we have lost the key people of FDC.
Who?
I know them. Bet Kamia is no longer there. Anna Mugisha, I know she's no longer there.
I thought
left
she's still a
FDC.
member of the party.
I
have
don't
seen
know
her
what
post
she
on
holds,
Facebook.
what she holds now, but I know she was one of the key ministers.
She's working
One of the key
an
ministers.
international job.
You know the fractures after Mugisha Muntu and
I think
Besigye,
it just
between
gets a
Araso,
discussion.
the Secretary General then. So
No, Fred.
I can tell you,
be
by-
honest.
No.
Apart from Betekame, you have failed to raise people. who
No,
have
even
left the
Bet
party.
Kamia,
No,
even
I
Bet
can tell
Kamia,
you, I
he
can
didn't
tell
leave
you,
FDC
I can tell
because
you.
of the
Didn't you read the missive, Honorable Amanya Mushega to Besigye? For how long have you been?
Did you
will
read the
have
column?
been heavy lifting? And what role is he playing now?
Well,
so some people may not even quit. They may
But
decide to keep
I
quiet.
mean, of course, with all due respect,
So what I'm
I
saying-
mean,
Could
with
you
all
listen
due
to Honor?
respect to your arguments, one of the tragedies for the opposition in this country is that they are really at war, so to say,
Amongst-
amongst themselves, but also with
Yes.
their opponents,
That one is
which,
obvious.
which is the government for that matter.
That is obvious.
That being in opposition is not really. I mean, the president in his first statement after winning said he wants to exterminate the opposition, which is his legitimate right, because he wants to have
He had said
absolute
that
support.
before when he hosted Uhuru Kenyatta.
So you can imagine being against person of the president and is determined to exterminate him.
and for
and
him
then
he
you
could,
fight
he
internally.
could not allow that because for him
But
he said,
I
really
wanted
want
also
rule for me,
to
even
this
a single
debate
day.
about whether FDC should have a leader of
leadership.
opposition or even if it was another party really brings to the fore the question of the place of opposition in our politics. You know, is the leader of opposition really representing the commitment to give opposition that status of government in waiting, or is just about one individual who ends up with just alone with a car with the sirens and all this, and it doesn't really speak to whether opposition is having their equal share. And because I've also argued that one of the reasons why sometimes there's so much desperation in the opposition, to the extent that people cross, people get bored, some people get so disillusioned, is because being in opposition is really it's a very risky venture, you know. And maybe one of the debates in any reform is, see, if you have a leader of opposition who is having trappings, can the whole opposition also seem to have some trappings such that they are not in control of government, but they seem to
But
also have their
take it on.
status. They are
That's
not
I
seen
want to ask you a
as
question.
a group that is, apart from
I think
earning
on-
salary, just hold on.
you can ask, you,
Apart from
listen
earning
to
a
him, and then
salary
you can ask
as
the question.
Kasozi,
This moment.
often a man in Honorable Kasosi's position is really, he's just sitting on the edge of the seat. He doesn't have that that stamina of an equal who is less, you know.
When I wanted to ask a question, because to me opposition would be a group to check government, a party in government, to see that they are doing what.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But
Now, if you see, yesterday's,
I think
if you see-
so my point is that first of all, my point is that
no, first we need to clarify. The opposition is not just there to check the government in power.
one of the things.
The opposition exists to struggle and replace the government that is
That's
in power.
okay. That's
That
okay.
is in power.
That's the primary.
Let me go by
Yes.
your
Opposition is not a
definition.
career.
Let me go by your definition. Now, if you are one of those either supporters or spectators, and you see yesterday's report, which was UNRWA report, and they mentioned that the leaders of opposition in parliament also received bribes to conceal or to frustrate contracts or road contracts. And this is a group we thought maybe for them, they should be looked at as holier. Because they are saying when we come, we shall do this. Now, where does it press us? Because they have mentioned both of them who were chairpersons of PAC, Honorable Nandara and Honorable Wadri. They have been mentioned in the commission, the report commission. Now, really, this person who wanted to join that group of opposition, or this person even who is not part of the opposition, but is spectating in the political spectrum, what kind of incentive does he get, or she? What does it tell us as a country?
What about this person who is a supporter of the ruling party?
And he's
Where members have been mentioned and it's been presiding over the theft that the report talks about.
I'm one of them, and I'm saying, I have always advanced it, that this country, we have two issues that we must deal with in these 5 years. One, fighting corruption to zero. Two, supervision by government representatives or workers. But that one need a conducive legislation that makes corruption very risky. And I have mentioned it, that we must amend the constitution.
I think you're taking us
We
away a
must
little
amend
bit.
the constitution. You are the one who asked it.
No. I didn't want to discuss the UNRWA report because I haven't read
I'm
it
passionate
yet.
about it.
Yes, I haven't read the
No, I'm
UNRWA
talking
report, so
about
I didn't want.
corruption.
I didn't want to discuss the UNRWA report without
But I'm trying
reading
to
it.
say,
But
And
even
knowing
then,
exactly what is it.
Honorable Nandala came
my
out.
point before
Honorable Nandala came out to
before
clarify
Bamwine
that
came
the
in.
report they referred to, it was not in his tenure.
Well, it's mentioned in the report. If it's mentioned in the report, we need to read the report and judge that on its merits.
Yes.
And yes, he can be able to clear himself. By which I hope he had an opportunity to
look
meet
at to the commission.
the commission and explain his role in it. For as long as his name is still in the report, until it is removed, it's still in the report. Yes, Ona, you wanted to say something?
No, I don't disagree with the Bamwine's argument, but I was saying, of course, on both sides, there are going to be those kind of bad apples, so to say. But my argument is that I think in light of the aftermath of this election, all the tension and what have you, I've constantly argued that losing power or losing an election in this country is a life and death matter. You really seem to lose the whole world once you lose. So I think there's need to try to strike a balance whereby the winners really determine the direction of the country, but the losers, if they are within the law, let's say those who are in parliament, you know, they shouldn't feel like, you know, if you are not on the government side, it's really a terrible situation. But at the same time, of course, it needs them also to consider those who have won, that they have the right to lead the process. But I think right now, both sides, there's a lot of extremism.
Yes.
There's a desire to say...
just that point. Beatrice Anywa,
yes,
who jumped ship and decided to support Amama Mbabazi, but didn't actually get nominated on the Go Forward ticket to contest in Kitgum. She contested as an independent and won, but she's a member of the FDC. Has suggested that a compromise should be made and Besche is appointed into the government.
Well,
into Museveni's government?
that may not really help.
Or is that the kind of thing you're talking
because
about? Yes.
I don't believe in power sharing per se, but I think there should be some bit of stepping up of the status of opposition. You know, maybe the way government conducts business, the way parliament conducts business. Yes, there is room for opposition, but often it's just that if opposition says
you're basically asking for respect.
Yes. At the same time, the opposition also tends to see that if it's a government thing, then there is very little room for to be in opposition. Should also give you a sense of being in power, but maybe lesser power. Because you see in other jurisdictions in the world.
Leader of opposition.
Yeah, but it's only the leader of the opposition who appears to have power, but not the ordinary member.
Gentlemen, I'm afraid we need to
have had people
who are
shadow ministers.
if you can hold your thought for a moment. And,
so what are the benefits of a shadow minister, for example?
Hold your thought for a moment.
Can the shadow ministers have a
Let's take another quick
car?
commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be letting our callers call us and share your views about political compromise. Is it practicable in this country? Compromising on whether or not to appoint leaders of opposition in parliament, in the 10th parliament, within the Forum for Democratic Change has been very difficult. And if we should remember, FDC refused to participate in elections for representatives to the East African Legislative Assembly, and that gap was filled by the Democratic Party and the Uganda People's Congress in this just ended parliament. We'll be right back. Welcome back this last segment of the Fourth Estate, and thank you very much to our viewers for sharing some of your thoughts with us. We'll be opening the phone line so that you can call in and share with us. We have Ibrahim Kasozi. He's Member of Parliament for Machinde East Constituency, representing the Forum for Democratic Change. We have Fred Bamwine. He's not a Member of Parliament. He's an RDC, Resident District Commissioner for Butambala. And we have, of course, my colleague, Onapito Ekomolite. There's a clarification.
I thought I'm also your colleague.
Eh? Yeah. No, he's my colleague. We do the show together.
We are not in the power.
We are not in power. Thank you, Cynthia, for sharing this. The government of Uganda, Honorable Sam Kutesa, he was the Minister for Foreign Affairs, did not announce a severance of diplomatic relations, but rather it is called disengagement. Under bilateral cooperation framework and not diplomatic ties. And you say that there's a big difference with breaking ties. An announcement of severance of diplomatic ties is usually followed by a 48-hour time frame to close and get out. So thank you very much, Cynthia, for sharing that, and that we're able to correct that. And then the Honorable, you're getting help, Fred. You're struggling to raise members of FDC who have decamped. Recently.
Just a minute.
No, you only found Betty Kami and you couldn't find others.
No,
now,
for instance, the chairman of the Electoral Commission.
Listen, please, first
Major
listen.
Rang.
First listen. The member of parliament for Borasha County, which is my county,
Yes.
Margaret Muhanga, has saved you. It says, in the 9th parliament, Alex Onzima, Agnes Egunyu left in the 8th parliament.
Yes.
And there were also a few people who
Major Ranga, who was the chairperson of the Electoral Commission himself.
Of FDC, yes. Left. So
how much do you think he left with?
The Honorable Margaret Muhanga, thank you very much for sharing that. And Jose Nwabine, I have some messages here. Jose Nwabine, who is in Kabola Liantonde, says, FDC are either a bunch of hypocrites or liars or just want to portray themselves as unpredictable people. In fact, if someone in FDC tells you that they are in Kampala going to Gulu, just wait for them at Lukaya. So we should always believe in the opposite of what they say, because it's a party of opposites. That's Jose Nwabine. And another listener here, Jackson Mugizi, he's at Makere University. He says, Bamwine Betty Kamia was expelled from the FDC.
But that's what I said.
She was expelled from the FDC.
Whether expelled, but
Honorable, listen, Honorable Amanya Mshega has never left FDC, but disagreed with Besigye. The Honorable Wadri and Nandala didn't appear before the UNRA probe because they weren't summoned through the speaker. But we be honest. That's need to be honest.
But the report is out.
Let me come back to the broader question that we're trying to battle with. What are you doing as a party to make sure that you minimize there's disagreements because they are not benefiting the party. Your representation in parliament is reducing. Your representation at local government levels is reducing, though the vote tally for Kizza Besigye as an individual, as the candidate you fronted, has gone up.
I think this is a challenge. I agree with you. This is a challenge to all of us. That how can we build cohesion within the party? You see, that's the problem of individuality. People are still believing if he joins the party because of Kasozi, not because of the ideals of that political party, is bound to fall apart immediately. You get a disagreement. So to me,
you are leaders in the party, and that's your responsibility.
That's what we are trying.
That can't be the responsibility of myself.
Building a political party is a gradual process, and you see now multi-party is still at its infant stage. We are bound to have those, but
existed as a political party for 10 years now.
But what will the major thing is how to solve those misunderstandings, so that you can build a party and you move on.
Okay, thank you. I need to pick some callers online. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Your name and where you're calling from. Keep your question or comment brief.
Yeah, my name is Godwin from Kawempe.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yes. First and foremost, I've been watching this show for quite a long time. But I want to register my disappointment with you, Charles.
Sure, go ahead.
You rarely give people time to talk. If you want to play moderation, play moderation. If you want to be part of the debate, you be part of the debate. That is one of the things I want to talk about. The second thing is I've been listening to many FDC people come on the show, and they castigate NRM and the caucus for the coercion they have and coming up with collective decisions for the party. They castigate that. Now here we have Ibrahim Kasozi talking about multi-party democracy and how the party has come up with a common policy or common voice, and that is how politics is supposed to be run. And yet it's the same person that will come to the show next week and castigate caucus, the NRM caucus, for doing exactly what he's advocating for. So let there be some truth in what these people are talking about. And I think let them be truthful to themselves. Kizza Besigye is on a totally individual run for, I don't know, whatever individual reasons he has. And other party leaders are trying to, like Mugisha Muta, trying to say a totally different thing. Let them sit and first sort out their issues before they start commenting about other parties. But most importantly, that's why I called, is Charles, please try as much as possible. Be neutral. Because you talk a lot and you really, you don't play a fair role.
Except now he has given you the chance without interruption.
Godwin, I've given you an opportunity to speak and attack me, and I haven't interrupted you. So I don't know where the blame is coming from. But maybe I need to pick some moderation lessons from you.
He said you shouldn't be biased.
Yes. Okay. I don't know how he judges bias. Hello? Let's have another call online. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I just want first of all to say about the FCC.
Your name, sir? Your name? Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Robinson Ntinda.
Your name again?
Robinson Ntinda.
Robinson Ntinda, go ahead.
Yes, I am saying the situation in FDC finds itself is not an easy situation because you are fighting the party through political means, and the other party just wants to destroy and give extra power and bribery. So they find themselves in a situation that it is not easy. And also the goals must be realistic. If they boycott the parliament, then it is also a mini reach out to their constituents if they are to continue the political struggle. So that's why they have tried to solve the dilemma by succumbing to those who need to play an active role in parliament, do so. And but their problem is brought about by NRM, who is fighting to dispose them into political means, but every illegal means like illegal arrest, like using excessive power and bribery. And secondly, I also, before I continue, I need to congratulate Mr. Charles. You conduct that debate very well. I do not agree with the other speaker. Because when you ask a question and someone answers a different question, is that would you lead a debate by agreeing it to divert or to digress from where you want to drive it? You have to make sure in the debate there is order, and this time must be just time.
Thank you, Robinson.
Just enough time, not so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I have Musa Ladu who says, thanks for moderating the show sensibly and fairly. Keep it up.
Have you been mobilizing? Have you been mobilizing your supporters to counter?
I hope not.
No, the message is on the phone.
You know, in this country, when you get under attack, you go into Kakiege immediately.
Gentlemen, let me pick some more callers. Hello? Hello? Do I have a caller? Hello? Yes. Hello?
Yes, Charles.
Yes, sir. Your name and where are you calling from?
Alfred calling from West Nile.
Yes, Alfred. In West Nile?
Yes.
Sure, go ahead.
I wanted to put a clear distinction between media journalism and media analysis of the truth of what is to be moderated on radio or maybe on the television. What you are doing, Charles, you have done it for many years, and I think nobody has ever complained like my brother has just complained. There's no way you are going to fail to probe further discussion to spice up a talk show. In any world, there are difference between media work and then the difference between talking. So people should get that very clear. Charles, keep up, you're doing very well. Now, in terms of my comments,
yes,
politics in Uganda, there's a difference between the truth in politics and then there's what we call political carcass, fighting over dead politics. We are not people who are looking at politics as a developmental politics in Uganda, but we fight over dead politics. What is wrong with working together as a team and to build Uganda like the Kenyans do? Otherwise, disorganizing others and then looking at others as problems is not the way. People are looking for politics in Uganda as a source of income rather than source of development, which is very wrong. So where you are criticized that this is wrong, can you accept that this is wrong and we improve? When somebody has said something is wrong, you find yourself in a total problem. We have problems with the NRM. Somebody has just been elected as secretary of a village council of NRM, would want to quarrel over you as if he's the president himself. So what kind of party do we have?
Thank you. Thank you, Alfred. I think it raises very fundamental questions. But let me pick another caller. Hello? Hello? Do I have a caller? Hello? Yes, go ahead. Hello?
Yes, how are you, Charlie?
Fine, sir. How are you?
I'm okay.
Your name?
I'm just from Kono.
Gerard, you said?
Just from Kono.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Gerard is he.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the problem of Uganda politics is the political party. Look at the movement. If the president talks, everybody goes with that. Why are they breaking FDC? So the other should know the problem of Uganda is not the opposition, but it is from the movement which the problem comes from.
Thank you.
So what the president says, all the members of parliament just go with that. If the good vote is bad. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me just take one more caller and then we'll come back to the studio. Hello?
Hello, Charles.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to say you, by the way, I vote you to be the best moderator in Uganda so far.
Thank you. What's your name, sir?
What I want to say, I am calling from Barara. My name is Muina, I'm calling from Barara.
Yes, Muine.
want to say is that we all came and voted during elections.
Yes.
Some of us voted people and went through, and others voted people and they didn't go through. I would think these politicians should give us a break to allow us to work and do other things, because we still have debts at home, we still have students take back to school, we still have issues. If politics becomes a day-to-day activity every day, there is a way it slows down even our own performance at a family level. I would also want to say this, that the movement should understand, even if they say they won, I personally voted them, but even if they say they won, they should also respect some people who didn't vote them. And also the same thing with FDC. If they lost, because when you look at the population of Uganda, you get the votes from NRM plus those ones in FDC. There's still a big majority group that didn't vote. Some of these guys are somewhere, and they want to enjoy Kampala. Yesterday I came in your Kampala. For us, some of us to stay this side, we wish we can be given capital cities this side. Down to Kampala, the whole place is mingled. You don't have where to pass. Museveni has brought back this Batembion street. A street where we are moving boldly, we're enjoying our city. Remember Kampala, we all have relatives, we all have visitors who come through Entebbe. And a visitor, you pick him from Entebbe, and he tells you, I don't want to enter through a mingled town. I was in Kigali the other day, and we were talking with a friend, and the friend told me he wanted where he can buy a house, where he can buy a house and build a house. And I told him, Kampala is good. He said, oh my God, don't tell me about that city. Very congested, chaotic, or is full of tear gas. That is the best description he gave to my capital city. As a Ugandan, I felt so much crushed. So I would wish to request our politicians, especially that member of parliament who has gone there, to call other politicians and give us a break. They eat their allowances. Thank God even removed the taxes from them. Let them give us a break, handle their stuff down there, and give us time. Like now, Besigye is in Rwanda. We have peace. But the moment he's released, tsunami is going to be all over the place.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mwende, for your comment. We need to bring the discussion back here. We have hardly 2 minutes to get out of here. But, gentlemen, you are the politicians. I need to leave this for you to conclude the discussion. One key question for Mwende. Mwende, do you know when politics interferes with your search for school fees and how much impact it has on your life? Let me start with Mwende. You represent the president, and you are the foot soldiers who are supposed to obliterate the opposition.
No, but I think
from your distance.
But now, elections have ended. Electioneering has ended. It's time for government to do its work. Yeah.
Has the political question been answered, would you say?
You see, once I'm given a docket that I'm under this in Butambara, I will not say, I did not perform because, there is opposition. It's my duty to make sure that Butambara is kept peacefully and it develops. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the government of Uganda, which has been given obligation to maintain peace and security, for Mwene and others to do their business.
Okay.
Electioneering will come in 2021.
Okay.
You wait for these fellows. Next year they are going to there's a contest between Besigye and Muntu for party presidents.
How did you know?
Their timetable is
okay.
Muntu's election timetable is out.
There's quite a number of comments that are coming to you of the party, your party, and people are saying, give people a break. You're going to parliament, give people a break.
I think it's not about giving the Ugandans a break. It's about showing Ugandans where you want to go. Because in a situation where a political leader, you defeat someone, and again you come up with trumped up charges, you throw him to Ruzira because of panic. I appeal to the government that they should not panic. They should release Besigye so that he can, because they are the one who caused all those problems. Because you don't expect Besigye supporters to fold their hands when their man is just languishing in jail. So they will come up to find that they should come up to make sure that their person is out of prison. So I think the government should have the respect we have been talking of. They should respect the opposition leaders.
Our time is out. We need to get out of
just throwing them.
We need to get out of here. Honor, you have the last word tonight. You've listened to the callers.
Yeah, Charles, I've listened to the callers. Certainly,
is there room for compromise, you think?
Unfortunately, yes, there is room for compromise. Unfortunately, our politics is defined basically on personal gain. And until you really, first of all, I've always believed that the only day you'll have serious politics is when you have a bit of volunteer politics. You know? Are there people who are willing to volunteer? That means they are not willing to take pay. I know in this country, just hold on, people volunteer to serve in the church, on the boards of schools, and they do a decent job. But now when it comes to politics, it's all for pay. That's all done. There's no mistake. It's all about desire.
No. The mistake they made, the framers of the Constitution, 1995, they made politics to be a job. And not only a job, but the most paying job.
I think, Fred, you need to be reminded.
We must tell because politics should be service.
If Godwin interprets this as bias, yes. He has the right to do that. Ona and Mugisha Muntu
yes.
raised a private members bill when they were in parliament that wanted to have ministers separated from being members of parliament and said, if you appointed a minister, you resign your parliamentary position. That is one way to stop making politics a job.
The Constitution of 1995, which allowed the members of parliament to determine their emoluments and attach.
But Fred, for me, I don't agree with blaming the Constitution, blaming
politicians
the law.
A constitution as no, but not personally.
A constitution, as sample says, a piece of paper. It's the individuals who matter. They can change the same, but there's always a lot of abuse of the law or twisting of the law to suit selfish interests. So the law is not.
I like Bamwine because Bamwine wants to segment Uganda as having been under different people. Your party has been in charge of this country for 30 years.
No. That's not true. The party started in 2005. Uganda was here for 50 years.
No, I'm saying you've been in charge for the last 30 years.
Not. At every stage, but for instance, we were in this government with the Messages, we were in this government with the Montus. So at every stage,
but you're still in government. Message has moved away. The Montus have moved away.
But also, you also mismanaged this at some stage.
And then we need to get out of here. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And for Godwin, I need you to check carefully. You might be standing too deep inside the line that you cannot see where the middle line stands. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for making time for the show. And have a good night.